Hey, Brett, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
So looking forward to the show. Jeff Dunham, Artificial Intelligence, coming to the Morris on July 17th. Tickets are available at jeffdunham.com. Who all will be joining you for this show at the Morris?
And by the way, Brad, I'm glad you said the tickets are at jeffdunham.com. I'm going to drop a name here, but I was actually talking to Jay Leno yesterday, and every artist has the same problem. It's like the tickets go on sale, and people go, "Oh my gosh, they're so expensive." No, you're looking in the wrong place. If you're getting on, the secondary ticket things, and people don't realize this. When you go and see an artist and the tickets are, $700. That's not the artist doing that. That's the guys that are scalping the shows. So, go to jeffdunham.com and tickets will be the appropriate prices. So the good part about all this, it's me, it's Peanut, it's Jose Jalapeno on a stick, it's Achmed the Dead Terrorist, it's Bubba J, it's Walter. So all the characters have been there for Lord knows how many decades. They're going to be at the show, and we're looking forward to coming to South Bend.
It's funny you say that about the tickets because I tell people the same thing all the time. Like people complain on Facebook and even just friends or relatives of mine. And I'm like, did you go to the venue? Did you go to the artist's website? Because that's how you're going to get the tickets for face value.
Yeah, I don't want to. It is amazing. I've seen my tickets on sale for $800. I'm like, what? Who the heck would pay that to see a puppet show?
Now, you mentioned all of the favorites. Peanut, was kind of your first big breakout character. Where did the idea and where did the design for Peanut come from?
Yeah, I was in college. I was going to Baylor University in lovely Waco, Texas. And I'd been a ventriloquist already for many, many years. I started in the third grade. And, we have ventriloquist conventions every year, believe it or not. And that's kind of frightening. Anywhere from 300 to 600 ventriloquists show up for the convention. And I'd been going to that already for many, many years. But it was in my later years in college when I realized I can't just have a typical little wooden boy dummy on my knee telling, woodpecker jokes. I need to have a defining character. And I went through a litany of characters that I would either make myself or have built for me, looking for my Mickey Mouse, my Bugs Bunny, my Bart Simpson, my main guy. Who is that going to be? And, for every successful character I have a trunk full of what I called "What the hell was I thinking?" and actually, Jose Jalapeno came before Peanut did. He was in like 1983, and I was in Texas, and in the Southwest, and Mexican food, of course, was been that huge down there long before it was huge in the Northeast or in the North. And a jalapeno on a stick. What was funnier than that?
You're right.
So, yeah. And then I just happened to just literally think up Peanut in my head one day, and I've built all my own characters. Peanut is the only one that I didn't build myself because he's more of a Muppet character. He's not made out of wood or fiberglass. And but I described him to a woman who made puppets, and I said, "This is what I want." She drew him out, and I said, "Okay, make this change and make this change." Yeah, I want the one tennis shoe, and the green hair, and the tan fur and purple skin, and she made him, and he became my guy, and just the guy that is nuts, and he closes the show right now, and to this day, you're right, he's the one that got me where I am. But I wouldn't be where I am were it not for other characters too, because Walter the Curmudgeon, he's the one that Johnny Carson and Jay Leno both liked, and then Achmed the Dead Terrorist. So after 9/11, that was kind of my answer to how are we going to whistle in the dark and laugh at our fears and make fun of the jerks that did that stuff to us. And Achmed the Dead Terrorist then turned my act into an international act, and that's what got me touring all over the world. So, and that's what I love about my act is when somebody comes to the show, there's a little something for everybody there. And, unlike a monologist who you're stuck with basically your one character yourself. Whereas I get to argue on stage and I can talk about subjects that might not be, politically correct, but then I can argue back and forth and it becomes a true comedy when there's, when there's conflict and tension on stage.
It's like therapy for you every night. You can work out your all your stuff right on stage in front of
Brad,
thousands of people.
You don't know how true a statement that is. Years ago, how many years ago? Almost 20 years ago now, when I was going through a horrible divorce, there was nothing better than getting on stage and Walter griping about ex-wives.
A little bit of realism in those bits, huh?
That's right. That's true. Yep, absolutely true.
Now, you mentioned Johnny Carson, and you made your debut on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson in 1990. And, for anybody younger that might be listening, they might not understand what a huge deal that was for comedians to be on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson back then. What was that experience like?
Sure. By 1990, cable had become a big deal, and now everybody had not 3 or 4 or 5 channels, but now they had, just an endless number of channels on TV. But before that, the carryover from when this nation was only 3 networks, and that was your only choice. And that's when Carson really, when he got started, and in the early 60s. And that's what would happen in those days. And again, it carried over even beyond cable TV when we got it. If you were on The Tonight Show as a stand-up comedian and you did a good job and you killed, your career was off and flying, and that was it. There was no question about it. By the time I got there, that was still pretty much true. And you were given that grade A stamp of approval of your career's gonna keep going. Don't screw this up. And I'll never forget the first, it was April of 1990, and Friday night was always Johnny's favorite night. And my night was a Friday night, and the other 2 guests were Bob Hope and B.B. King. Wow. And the audience was hot, and I did my bit with Peanut and Jose Jalapeno, and I was ready to walk backstage and celebrate, and then they waved me over to the couch. And again, if people don't know what that meant, that was a huge deal to go to the couch with Johnny, especially your first time. So, I watch the tape now and I cringe because, that was my act back then. It's very different now, but I did the best that I could at that point. And when the floor director waved me to the couch in the middle of my bow, I literally looked like a deer in headlights, like, what? Who I'm going to talk? And I remember Letterman describing talking to Johnny Carson was like talking to the guy on the $5 bill. What are you going to ask him? What are you going to say to him?
It's funny, though, you say you watch it back now and you cringe, because I rewatched it this morning before this interview, and you killed. Like, you absolutely, the audience is with you from the get-go, and then you get that wave over, and you bring out Walter on the couch. You had the great line to Ed McMahon about "Stop sending me your mail," and you get the... Wait,
we got to explain that line. So
true. McMahon, yes. No one would understand that now, too.
Yeah, Ed McMahon was Johnny's second banana, and Ed McMahon did a thing called the Publishers Clearinghouse. He was the spokesman, and he would do these horrible commercials of, "Hey, we're coming to your house, but subscribe to this," and blah 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 blah. And so Walter looks down the couch and he goes, "Don't you have some envelopes to lick?" And that was one of those when Johnny laughed hard, and when you make Johnny laugh, that's pretty special time.
Right, and that's what I was going to say is after that, you get the ultimate stamp of approval, that classic Johnny Carson where he holds up the OK with his fingers, and he says, "Just perfect." I mean, like, you had to be on cloud 9 after that.
Oh, yeah, it was great. But, it's funny, during commercial break, people always wonder what happens during that. Are you talking with him? And no, Johnny also did a thing where usually, unless he knew you and was a personal friend, he didn't come to the dressing room to talk to you before the show because he wanted it to all be, for the first time, real on set and on camera. And so during commercial break, I wasn't a friend. I was just a young guy. And so we weren't saying much. It was in the dark, and sometimes he would actually smoke during commercial break. Right. But I turned to him and I said, "Mr. Carson, I would appreciate it if at the end you could thank me because Walter has a line." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, no problem." So, and he turns to Walter and he goes, at the very end of the series, "Walter, I hope you'll come back here again soon." And Walter goes, "Yeah, it'll be a cold day in hell before you get me back here." and I mean, say that to Johnny Carson. I knew I was taking a huge chance because
Right.
that could have gone the complete opposite direction and ruined every bit of it. But he laughed, the audience laughed, Ed laughed, and yeah, that was. Even now, I get chills now thinking about that time because that was. That was it. I wouldn't be talking to you right now, I don't think, if that hadn't happened that night.
Yeah, I mean, that's just again that at that time that was truly the top of the mountain. I mean, Carson was king, and he was a kingmaker. I mean, he literally could make or break a comedian's career. So
yeah, and it's a shame what's happened with late night now because for all kinds of reasons that you want to name, that doesn't happen anymore. Not the least of which is social media and. There's not any show right now that can do that because there's just too much to choose from and too many voices out there making noise.
Yep, very true. Now, like you said...
Except for right now, Brad. I think now. I think being on with you, this is it. I'm going to do it.
I think, Jeff, you've been struggling all these years, and I think this interview is going to be the one that's going to really finally get you to break through, You know what?
You joke about that, but, that was Leno's approach before he got the Tonight Show, was that you just go to all these different markets, you talk to all these great people like you who know what they're talking about and do great interviews, and that's that grassroots thing. I feel sorry for the guys that are the media, the influencers, and they have a handful of jokes and they get on social media, they do a bunch of videos, and now it's like, I'm in show business, I can sell out a club. Well, that's fantastic. I just hope you understand that it's going to take that 30,000 hours on stage to become that true entertainer and know how to hold an audience for an hour and a half. It's not easy. And it really is this grassroots thing of getting out there and talking to great guys like you who do a great interview and building that following, 1,000 people by 1,000 people.
Well, and that's what's so impressive to me about your story is, you mentioned you started at age 7, you said, as working on your...
7 or 8. I can't remember. I might have been held back in elementary school. I don't know. It was a 3rd grade.
But I mean, you started at an extremely young age. You had this goal in your head and this dream, and you followed it. And through setbacks and it just like you said, club after club after club, and then you get to a point now where you're selling out arenas, and you have the record for most tickets ever sold for a stand-up comedy tour. I mean, that is, you got to look back on that and go, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, my 10-year-old, that was back when Achmed was first getting huge, and we did Spark of Insanity, and we literally went to every corner of the globe and all over the United States doing that show. And I have twin boys that are 10 and a half, and every once in a while they go, Dad, can we see that thing again? And they want to see the Guinness record plaque.
Now, one of the things, is this true? One of the things, after you really made it big, one of the things you splurged on, do you own the actual Batmobile from the 1989 movie? Is that true?
Batman Returns is 1992. So the 2 hero cars are the same 2 cars that they used in Batman and Batman Returns, and that was the Michael Keaton movies. And then they had a 3rd car in the 2nd movie that they used for pickup shots, which means, shots that they might have missed or just background. And so, I have that one from Warner Brothers. And when I got it, those cars, most of those cars were made, nowadays it's different. But back then, they made a hero car, and it's made to drive from point A to point B 6 times, and that's it. So when we got this thing, it was a fiberglass plywood, 350 crate motor, just made to drive a little bit. And we took that thing, and somehow we knew a guy at the DMV. I got it street legal. We put a Corvette LS7 engine in it, and it's got cameras, so you can actually see out of it. And so that's that one. I also have a really, really nice tribute 1966 Adam West version, and nice. And then for people who don't know, George Barris designed and built the Adam West Batmobile from the television series. And he, of course, was the car guy, Hollywood car guy to go to, and he made some crazy stuff. And I also have the last thing he ever built, and it's a smart car that he made into a Batmobile, so it's called the Bat Smart, and it is the most ridiculous, silly little thing ever. It's great.
So obviously you were a big Batman fan.
Absolutely. Growing up, that was, there was a toy when I was a kid in the 60s. It was a company's answer to G.I. Joe. It was called Captain Action. And Captain Action was this one action figure, but you could buy every superhero outfit that any comic book ever had. The licensing must have been crazy. It was DC, it was Marvel, it was King's Features. But my favorite outfit for Captain Action was the Batman. And yeah, I threw him around the house, and that was my guy.
Now, when you're off the road and you're not touring, is it easy for you to put the puppets away and the voices away, or do you find are they kind of just creeping into your everyday life at this point?
Brad, they're remaking the movie Magic, which was with Anthony Hopkins, and it was a 1978 movie where the dummy goes and kills his agent, kills his manager. And I should come up with some good story, but the actual boring story is that the dummies go in the trunk, and that's it. Every once in a while, I'll pull a dummy out for whatever reason. I have 3 grandsons. I have 10-year-old sons and then grandsons that are almost the same age. So our Christmas card is very confusing. The picture. But now it's gotten to the point where Harry, my grandson, he's 5 years old, and he expects every time that we get on FaceTime, Peanut needs to be there too, sure, talking. And so, so I have to pull Peanut out of the case whenever Harry's on the phone.
Now, when you're writing new material, do you sit down to write for specific characters? You think, okay, I need some new stuff for Peanut, I need some new stuff for Walter, or is it kind of like the joke comes first and then you decide which character this would work best with?
Brad, you're way too smart for the room here. Both of those things are absolutely how I do it. I'll come up with a joke, or somebody will tell me a joke, and like, oh my gosh, that would be perfect for so-and-so. Or it's like, I need a new bit for so-and-so, and then I write specifically for that character. But there's 2 different ways of doing it. There are jokes that you can take just about any joke and twist it around and go, okay, I could make it sound like a dumb joke, and that's for Bubba J. Or I can make it sound curmudgeonly, and then that's for Walter. So you can almost twist any joke that way. But again, if I'm a good writer and I have a premise or a setup, if I'm a good writer, then each response will be slightly different for every different character. So, I'll find topics and I'll write for that character for that topic. But it's all different ways. There's no real formula. If it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah, and if the spark of insanity, to use a phrase, hits, you just run with it, right?
You know what? It actually stole that phrase. It was a writer that was describing Mel Gibson. He has and this was years ago, back when Mel Gibson was, the troubles were beginning, and somebody described him as having a spark of insanity. And I went, that's a perfect name for a show.
Yep. Yeah. Well, yep. Jeff, absolute pleasure talking with you. Especially love the Johnny Carson stories. That's just... I grew up, kind of at the tail end of Carson's reign, but like we talked about, he was just the king. So to hear a firsthand account of what it was like to be in that studio and be on that couch is really cool. So thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you, Brad,
that.
and I appreciate all your questions. It's great, and I like it when there's a guy that understands this kind of stuff. So thank you, and yeah, we dated ourselves. So there you go.
That's all right. Well, Jeff Dunham, Artificial Intelligence Tour coming to the Morris Performing Arts Center here in South Bend, July 17th. Tickets are available at jeffdunham.com. Jeff, thanks again, and good luck on the rest of the tour, and we'll see you in July.
All right, Brad. Thanks a bunch. See you guys.